Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Outside the Box. It is Thursday, which means we're one day away from the weekend, which means we're one day from not having to see the bosses for what 2 days. So I hope everybody's out there having a great Thursday. We're almost 3 days away, 3 days away from the Super Bowl. So that's also something big. And something big that happened last night, man. If you saw it, Roger Federer and Djokovic, my goodness, I'm telling you, what a tennis match. It didn't really good. It didn't go in Roger Federer's favor, not at all, not one slight bit. But he made it very exciting. He had back pains, had growing issue, but he made the game very exciting, and I was excited to see it. The game started like 3:47 in the morning, and I was surprised. I was sitting there talking to somebody on Twitter from the great state of Maryland, and man, I'm telling you, the match was absolutely exciting. But we're not going to start with that today. We're going to open up and we're going to start with some NBA action because last night we still had Kobe tributes going on. Then we saw the Instagram post from Vanessa Bryant, and man, I'm telling you, touching, and Kobe's just gone too soon, man. And I was gonna read it, but I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it already, and I was just like, man, like that was like super heartfelt, and like Paul George was talking about, it's like every day you think you get over it, and you see something that just pulls you all the way back in to let you know, like, I'm not over it yet. And that was it for me yesterday. It's like, so it's definitely a healing process. And like I said, it's like losing a family member, somebody you've been sitting there admiring, observing, a teacher for that matter, for over 20 years. So it's kind of hard just to see somebody go like that. And like I said, Vanessa Bryant yesterday, that Instagram post, yeah, just heart-wrenching, and talking about, Gigi and Kobe knows they were very loved, and they missed them, gone too soon. And of course, we all know this as well. But Kobe tributes last night in the NBA. Kyrie, the Nets were playing the Pistons, and we saw the last place that Gigi and Kobe sat. They had the two seats when the last time they saw Kyrie play, so that was nice to see. We also saw last night Spencer Dinwiddie, Kyrie, very emotional last night. Kyrie tearing up in pregame. I believe Spencer Dinwiddie was as well. And they just went out there. Kyrie and Dinwiddie went out there and balled last night, as well as Teron Prince. I was glad to see Teron Prince go out there and do some things. 22 points last night for him, I believe. Spencer Dinwiddie, of course, 28 points. He was throwing up some circus shots last night, and you're like, Spencer, how are you knocking this down? He had that Mamba mentality going on last night. A couple players had Mamba mentality going on last night. Kyrie, we saw Kyrie taking shots, took a big three, missed it, got his own rebound, and finished on two people. It was like last night, Kyrie and the Nets, they weren't going to be stopped. He was all in the game. And then, of course, after the game, we sit there talking to Kyrie. He's just emotional, talking about he has to carry the torch for Kobe, and many times he couldn't even get the words out of his mouth. Which just lets you know what Kobe meant to him and how he's a friend, mentor to Kyrie. And I told you already, one of my favorite Kobe moments is when Kyrie Irving was actually challenging Kobe Bryant during a Team USA FIBA practice, talking about, you have to guard me, you have to guard. And Kobe was like, come on, man. And then even in the video, he's talking about he just got out of high school and all this. So, and then we saw that Kobe Bryant blocked the shot of Kyrie Irving the very 3-4 months down the line in an actual NBA game. So that was exciting to see. And that's probably one of my most favorite Kobe moments, because Kobe talked that stuff to you, like, you're not going to get by me. You're not going to score on me. Like 12-time defensive first team. And he shut down Kyrie, Mr. Handles, Uncle Drew shut him down. So that was nice to see last night. Kyrie paying some tribute to Kobe Bryant. Andre Drummond last night for the Detroit Pistons. I didn't know what he was doing. He looked kind of off to me. I think he only had 12 points, 5 of 16 shooting, 13 rebounds, 5 turnovers. Not too good of a look for Andre Drummond. Somebody yesterday said on ESPN, man, it's one of the best games Andre Drummond had. Now, if you want to go back and look at the dunk he had on Jared Allen, like, that was kind of a big dunk. And Jared Allen returned the favor. It just wasn't on Andre Drummond, but he returned the favor to the very next possession. But last night, the Pistons starters without Derrick Rose, 10 of 31 shooting, 24 points. So not good at all without Derrick Rose in there. Pistons benched 69 points of 115 overall points. So, of course, they had the majority of the points than the starters did, which is not good at all. Derrick Rose, Reggie Jackson, 23 points, 5 assists, 4 3-pointers off the bench. And then we had Derrick Rose, 22.6 rebounds and 5 assists. He was, of course, the starter that was trying to push along and get the Detroit Pistons going. And now on a 4-game losing streak, will we see Derrick Rose get traded? That is the big question. Will Derrick Rose get traded? The Pistons are slowly just keep slipping out of playoff contention at this point. Will Derrick Rose get traded? Next week is the trade deadline. I believe it's February the 6th. So we're going to have to see what happens to Derrick Rose and Andre Drummond as time goes on. Next game, Jazz at the San Antonio Spurs. And DeMar DeRozan, did he hear what I had to say? Because remember we were talking about DeMar DeRozan when he scores over 30 points. The Spurs are like 1-5 or 1-6 this season. 38 points, and my goodness, the man balled out. 38 points last night, season high. And I was like, I had to clap it up for the guy. You went 17 points in the first half, 21 points in the second half, 11 of 19 shooting, 38 points, 16 of 19 from the free throw line. So he was very efficient from the free throw line last night. 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Biggest surprise of this game, of course, we're going to talk about Lamar Aldridge not playing. Lamar Aldridge not playing. And like I said, it's Utah Jazz versus Spurs. Of course, the Utah Jazz just lost the game the other day. And we're sitting there like, okay, well, it's the Utah Jazz. Eric Gordon did drop 50 on them. Okay, but they're going to get back to what they do. And the Spurs have no LaMarcus Aldridge, but now 2 back-to-back losses for the Utah Jazz. And so they lost at home. They lost at home to the Houston Rockets. Now they lose on the road to the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs, they're kind of confusing me because I was like, how did you just lose to the Bulls by 1 point? You just lost to the Suns. But you beat the Jazz. But you beat the Jazz. I said, San Antonio, I'm not understanding. And then, of course, I'm looking at the YouTube comments yesterday, and some people are talking about YouTube comments on the Spurs and Jazz game. And they're like, man, the Spurs are just so inconsistent this year. They're one of the most inconsistent teams in the NBA. And I was like, and one person even said inconsistent. They're always inconsistent. I was like, maybe this season they're inconsistent, but I wouldn't say always because, that doesn't really, they have championships and Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches of all time. It's like, I don't really know how you're saying that the Spurs are always inconsistent. So I don't know what he was talking about. DeMar DeRozan yesterday also became the first player since Tony Parker to go back-to-back over 35 points. So kudos to DeMar DeRozan for playing, keeping up that high energy. Spurs shot 56.1% from the field last night. The biggest thing that I need LaMarcus Aldridge to come back. Why do I need LaMarcus? Well, we play the Hornets on Saturday, which should be a must-win for San Antonio. But also, coming up next week, we play the Clippers, play the Lakers, play the Blazers, and we also play the Kings. And guess what? All of those games are on the road, each and every one of them. So I'm going to need LaMarcus Aldridge to come back. I'm like, I know we just got a big win over a very good Utah Jazz team, the 3rd team in the NBA power rankings. I know it's a big win, but I need LaMarcus Aldridge to come back. Because we're gonna Clippers, Lakers, Blazers, then the Kings. Yeah, I need LA to come back. The Spurs won yesterday, 127-120. Good win for them. Grizzlies at the Knicks yesterday. This game was kind of big, 127-106 for the Grizzlies. And remember, we were just talking about Ja Morant. Can he lead this team, this young team, this 24-year-old average team to the playoffs? Now they're sitting there at 500 after the 126-106 win last night. And the biggest thing of this game, we see, the end of the game, of course. Jay Crowder steals the ball on the inbound pass from, I think that was that wasn't Ntilikina, that was Elfrid Payton. He steals the ball from Elfrid Payton. Then all of a sudden he goes to the corner to shoot the jump shot, but they're already up. And like I said, the score is they won 127-106. So it was like 40-something seconds left. He runs to the corner to shoot the 3. Elfrid Payton pushes him to the ground. And you're just sitting here like, okay. And then, of course, people in the comment section, this is not what Kobe would have wanted. It's been like all love in the NBA right now, so I don't know why Elfrid Payton would even, it's like, right now I feel like it's like a love your brother type of world right now, or mentality we all have, Mamba mentality. We're like, love your brother. We want to see everybody do great. But pushes down Jay Crowder, and I was like, nah, I wasn't really feeling it. I understand the concept of you do not shoot or try to, keep adding on to the lead when you're already up by so many points and they win by 21. I understand that mindset. Like, it's supposed to be a professional type of thing. You don't just keep trying to run the score. But I was like, you can't be doing that. I'm pretty sure Elfrid Payton's going to get suspended for that. I'm more than certain he probably will get a 1-2 game suspension. And then, of course, during the whole little scuffle, Marcus Morris, for some reason, pushes Ja Morant. I didn't understand it. And then at the end of the whole game, see Marcus Morris sitting there saying everything about Jay Crowder's soft. He has female tendencies. and just saying, like, he was like saying derogatory things about like women, and he had came out with a statement apologizing, saying that he loves women. He doesn't mean anything by it. He was just a spur of the moment type thing. He just was heated, and that's what happened. He pretty much wanted to retract everything he said. Didn't mean what he said. And I was like, okay, well, you talking about people, like, just like pretty much saying, he plays like a female, like he just keeps knocking his head back, but I was like, okay, but last night, if I want to compare the stats from last night, Marcus Morris, 17 points, 5 of 17 shooting, 6 rebounds, 0 assists, so no passes that anybody scoring, and he led the game in turnovers with 4. So I was like, okay, I don't really know how you can even say that, like, I think Jay Crowder had 18 points, 4 3-pointers, 4 rebounds, something like that, but I was like, I don't know, 18 points, 4 3-pointers, 7 rebounds, I'm sorry. But then you're talking about, you went 5 of 17 shooting with 17 points. No. So you're talking about the guy like, he's throwing his head back. So I was like, Marcus, you gotta pick and choose when you say things like this. I know you're probably mad that he shot the ball on you. Y'all were already up. But, y'all were already down by so many points. But you gotta, no. But then, of course, after the whole scuffle, Knicks fans sitting there yelling, sell the team. And yeah, I was like, well, sell the damn team. Sell the damn team, because the Knicks just Mike Miller took over. They've been playing a little better, but I don't know. That last night was like uncalled for. I didn't need to see that last night. Last night, Dillon Brooks, he's averaging 24.5 points per game over a 4-game winning streak for the Grizzlies. The former Oregon Duck, he was getting it done. Dillon Brooks, 27 points last night. Ja Morant, 18 points, 10 assists, double-double for the rookie in his first time in Madison Square Garden. Brandon Clark, 17 points off the bench. Grizzlies had 42 points off the bench in total last night. Also, let's go to this is a little lengthy on this one. I probably won't get to everything, but Rockets and the Blazers last night. Oh my goodness. Damian Lillard, every time you sit there, he's shooting. Are you serious? Because 2 shots from 3 from the logo. I was like, Damian Lillard, are you kidding me? You can't be shooting like this. You can't be knocking down shots like this. Is it 2020 new Dame time? Everybody's like, it's a new year, new me. A new year, new Dame time, because Dame time is going off in every half this season. Every half. For 2020, it's been going off like every half. Especially the last, I think, 4 games, he's been absolutely killing it. So if you want to look at the last 4 games, he's averaging 48.5 points per game. Where they do that at? 48.5 points over a 4-game span. Where they do that at? Because Damian Lillard, I was like, the one shot, I have it on Sports Outside the Box Instagram, so you can go check that out. Go follow on there. And of course, subscribe here. But man, I was like shooting from the logo 2 times. 2 times shooting from the logo. I was like, Dame, what are you doing? Because the first time he did it, he only hit the backboard. The second time he did it, cash. And then he did it on who else? Russell Westbrook. That's on Russell Westbrook. And I was just like, I know he has to love this. Just knocked it down on Russell Westbrook, and then all of a sudden he's just backpedal. You're backpedaling off, and he's like looking at Russell Westbrook. I'm like, man, Russ, you better not. You better go at it. And then Russell Westbrook last night, 39 points for him last night. He was having himself a hell of a game. Dame entered the game with 36 points. I was like, man, oh man, it was like a point guard battle. I don't know so if we talk about what's going on this year for Dame time, like I said, new year, new Dame. 33 points per game, 8.3 assists, 4.9 rebounds. He's shooting, this is all just for 2020, every game for 2020. I think it's 14 games for the Blazers so far. He's shooting 48% field goal percentage. He's shooting 44% from the 3. Ridiculous. He's made 66 threes in 2020 so far. Overall, 146 made field goals. I'm like, Damian Lillard, he's playing out of his mind. That's why I'm new year, new Dame. Because we usually get Dame time. We usually get Dame time in crunch time moments. No, it's not happening like that no more. He's giving us Dame. He's spoiling us with Dame time. He's cold. He got the ice in his veins the whole game now. And I'm just shocked the way he's playing. Before Russell Westbrook was taken out the game yesterday in the third quarter, like 4:54 left. We saw that James Harden was trying to get his mojo back. Russell Westbrook's trying to lead the team. And with 4:54 left in the third quarter getting taken out, only people who shot the ball in that quarter was Russell Westbrook and James Harden all the way up to that 4:54 mark, which was kind of remarkable because Ben McLemore starts the game off with 4 3-pointers. PJ Tucker was open for some shots. Eric Gordon, we know he had that 50-point performance the other night against the Utah Jazz, but last night 2 for 10 from the field. I think he went 1 for 7 from the 3-point land. So understandable why he probably wasn't taking as many shots. He just wasn't hot like he was against the Utah Jazz. But my question is, so far, what is wrong with James Harden? That's my question, because for 2020, he's averaging 28 points, 7.2 rebounds, 6.5 assists. Does that sound bad? No, that sounds pretty great. 28 points per game, that sounds pretty great. But when you look at he's played 11 games, shooting 35%. That's the field goal shooting, 35%. Shooting from three-pointer, 26.9%. So when he's talking about these low numbers, it's like, where's all his scoring coming from? Well, 36.4% of his points, so 36.4% of those 28 points per game comes from the free throw line. So we're like, okay, well, James Harden, he's just shooting a lot of shots. He's getting to the free throw line a lot. He's missing his field goals, but he's making the free throws he's making the free throws. So that's what's going on. Russell Westbrook, he's the one that's been trying to lead the ship. I don't know. I thought the 2 games off with a thigh contusion with James Harden he's gonna come back in, look a little more spry, look a little more, uppity. But he just started off bad. Third quarter, came right out trying to try to pull up a 3, missed it automatically, and it was going to be tough to win yesterday in Portland anyway, because Dame and Russ had that rivalry going on. It was nice to see also because Dame posted last night, because I don't know if anybody saw the end of the game. Dame and Russell hugged it out, and people think we hate each other, but it's just he used a certain word. It's like pretty much like competitor versus competitor, but he used a different word. Can't think of it right now. But yeah, he definitely used a different word, and it was like, okay, yeah, we get it. And I was happy to see that, because man, Russ and Dame go at it so much, and it's like that competitive spirit. That's that Mamba mentality right there. Like, I have to have the ball. I'm gonna shoot the shot. I'm gonna be the one saying goodbye, waving to you. But we all know that the Damian Lillard, I think it was like 2012, 2011, he ended the Rockets in the playoffs. And then we also know he did the same thing to OKC last year with Russ and Paul George, knocked them out on that game-winning 3. So Damian Lillard, he definitely always has that Mamba mentality right there with him. Mavericks and Rockets are now both 29-18, and of course we know the last loss for the Mavericks was against the Suns when Rick Carlisle had to pull the starters out the game. Thunder are 29-20. The three teams are they're all right there together, which is very scary. 5, 6, and 7. Thunder, Mavericks, and the Rockets all right there together. So easily one of these 3 teams could be playing the Clippers or the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs, which I'm pretty sure none of them want to do. But it's gonna happen if they don't shake it up a little bit. So right now, like I'm saying, nobody's fearing the beard right now. The Mavs, they actually are going to be in Houston tomorrow night, which is going to be absolutely huge, of course. And because the season's winding down, season's getting shorter, so every game is starting to really count. If we look at the performance of something that the Rockets need to be careful of, be very wary of in February. They got to play the Celtics twice. They got to play the Lakers. They got to play the Jazz twice. They got to play the Grizzlies. All these teams right now are in playoff contention, and they're gonna have to really buckle down. James Harden's gonna have to come back and beat James Harden. They're gonna have to fear the beard. And like I said, nobody's fearing the beard right now. So they're gonna have to try to figure out something with James Harden. He's off. He's not shooting like he's normally shooting. Like I said, for the season, for 2020, 26.9% from the 3, and that's something that we're not really used to. 35% from field goal percentage overall, something else we're not used to. 82 of 234 so far for 2020. And like I said, 36.4 points coming from the free throw line, so not too good for James Harden. Last night, Damian Lillard, 36 points. CJ McCollum, 22. Russell Westbrook, 39. James Harden, second leading scorer last night with 18. Some action last night. OKC and the Kings. Insert the Rook, Luke Dort. We all know about the stellar guard play in OKC. Dennis Schroeder, SGA. CP3. But Dort last night, oh my goodness, I was like, who is this kid? 5 3-pointers, 23 points. The kid was going off. The kid was showing you his talent. He was showing you what he could do. And he's looking pretty good. Gallinari last night, 19 points. SGA, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. CP3, he only had 9 points, but he put in 10 assists and 7 rebounds. Dennis Schroeder, 24 points off the bench. And honestly, Dennis Schroeder is what makes this OKC team so dangerous. You have Dennis Schroeder come off the bench, a point guard in the NBA who could be starting for almost any team. And also we've seen people mimic things like this when Lou Williams, he comes off the bench, and we know Lou Williams could probably start for any team. Then we go back and Manu Ginobili was coming off the bench. He could definitely be starting for almost anybody. But it's like, people are trying to, I guess, mimic the Lou Williams right now. You need to have a scoring guard coming off the bench, and when you have that, it really gets the team going. And I guess you also say, because they beat the Kings last night, the Kings are trying to do the same thing with Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's coming off the bench right now as well, and he had 12 or 17 points. I'm getting his numbers mixed up with somebody else, but like I said, Jordan Clarkson, he's another big example. But another win yet again for the OKC Thunder last night, 120-100. Good game, and player of the game, the Rook, Luquence Dort. Also, Bulls and Pacers last night. Victor Oladipo, number 4, he returns. And honestly, the Bulls probably should have won this game. The Bulls had Victor Oladipo, like he said at the end of the game in his post-game interview, Mamba mentality. And he shot the three-pointer after being 0 for 6 in the game. Shot the three-pointer with time going down, makes the three, ties the game at 100. And we see Zach LaVine goes up for a layup to try to end the game. And Victor Oladipo clearly fouls him, hits him right on the arm, and I think they go look at it, and they don't call a foul. And I was like, I don't know. And I think it was like, what? This was back in like 06, 07, maybe 2008, but Tim Duncan had got fouled, and they were like, oh, we're not going to allow this game to be won by free throws or whatever. And I was like, oh my goodness, like this would have seemed like last night. They weren't going to allow this game to be won by Zach LaVine going to the line and ruining Victor Oladipo's return night. But Victor Oladipo, who didn't play in overtime, even though he caused the game to go to overtime, he didn't play because, he's on a minutes restriction, just coming back from that leg injury. And Malcolm Brogdon takes over in overtime, and they outscored the Bulls, I think, 16-5 in OT. Zach LaVine, they just couldn't get it going. TJ Warren last night, man, he's been balling out. 25 points last night for him. Sabonis, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. And Malcolm Brogdon, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. You see all these guys like being all around. They're doing everything. They're helping the team win. And I think Aaron Holiday last night, 10 points off the bench. And that's good for Aaron Holiday because now they have another guard that can come off the bench and help the bench out. So that just makes this more depth for the Indiana Pacers. Oladipo in his return last night, 21 minutes, 9 points, 4 assists. And, the 21 minutes kind of like we saw in Zion Williamson's opening debut. So we'll see over time. Oladipo's number should be going up. Some women's basketball last night, South Dakota versus Omaha. We expected it, 71-39. They showed no mercy. A good win for number 21 South Dakota. Taylor Frederick finishes the game with 20 points, 8 of 12 shooting off the bench. Omaha only had 28.8% shooting for the whole entire game. So that's definitely not good. It sounds like, James Harden's three-point percentage. TCU at Oklahoma State. Jade Wood and Lauren Hurd last night, they lead the squad to another victory. Kiana Ray, we know she was the star that beat them, helped them win against number 25 West Virginia last week. But Jade and Lauren, they handled this one. Jade Wood, 22 points. Lauren Hurd, 25 points. But only 5 of 19 shooting for her. 14 of 15 from the free throw line last night. Close battle the whole game. 7 lead changes in the first quarter. 20 lead changes in this game overall. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, the up and down, up and down, up and down. And finally, with 6 minutes and 47 seconds left in the fourth quarter, they finally, TCU finally takes the lead, and they finally just end the game out. So kudos to them. Some men's basketball from last night. Vanderbilt versus number 13 Kentucky. Kentucky wins 71-62, so good win for KU. Nick Richards, probably the player of the game. Second half, he goes in the second half, 0 points, 15 points in the second half after going scoreless in the first half, 11 rebounds. Tyrese Maxey finally gets back in the double digits. We know he's scored 7-7 the last 2 games. But last night, 17 points, 4 rebounds, probably his best game of this 2020 so far on the offensive end. Vanderbilt last night went up in the halftime 35-28. So Vanderbilt was looking pretty good. But the big story, of course, Scottie Pippen Jr. Man, I was like, what is he doing? Like, he's been very, not sluggish, but he's been very not productive these last probably 4, 5, or 6 games. Scottie Pippen Jr. has not been very productive at all. Shooting 40%, under 40% in his last 3 games. So against Alabama, South Carolina, this game he shot like 37%, I believe. Against Alabama, against South Carolina, he shot 28.6% from the floor. They need him. They need him to produce. Vanderbilt is not really we don't really see Vanderbilt struggle in the basketball realm of things too often, but they're definitely struggling right now. They're 0-7 in SEC conference play, and currently the worst team in the SEC. Before 2020 even started, they had just got up their last win. They haven't won a game all of 2020. They're 0-8 in 2020. No, wait, they're 0. I think they're 0-8. They're 0-7 or 0-8. They're one or the other. But they're 0-8 in 2020 so far. They were 8-5 coming into this season. Coming into the 2020. They are now 8-12 or 8-13. Sorry. So they definitely need to get something going. Also last night, DePaul playing number 10 Seton Hall. Seton Hall wins 64-57. This kid, Miles Powell, I'm telling you, I'm going to have to do some research on this kid because he's going to the bucket. He's getting big buckets in the first half, big buckets in the second half. Miles Powell, I was like, who is he? I had never heard of him. Last night, I never seen a Seton Hall game. But this kid is great. He played great last year, played good this year. His worst shooting percentage. The only time he shot under 40% in his career so far was, of course, his freshman year at Seton Hall. But my goodness, this kid has been absolutely phenomenal. 2018 averaged 2018-2019 season averaged 23.1 points per game. And then we're looking at him this season. This season, he's averaging 22.1%. And like I said, the only time he shot under 40% was his freshman year. 24 points last night for him, 5 rebounds. Jared Rhoden, 14 points for him last night, 11 rebounds, double-double for Jared Rhoden. DePaul now is 13-8 on the year, but now 1-7 in the Big East. Second loss to Seton Hall this season. Seton Hall is 8-0 in the Big East conference play. So kudos to Seton Hall. They played very hard last night. And I'm telling you, Miles Powell, I'm going to have to do some research on this kid because this kid can ball. This kid can flat out get to the bucket. He can score. I'm going to have to look at some more Seton Hall games. Also last night, number 12, West Virginia University, WVU, playing Texas Tech. And I told you we had to watch out for this game because we saw how good Texas Tech played against Kentucky. Almost beat Kentucky. Lost by 1 or 2 points against Kentucky. And we were just sitting there. They lost 76-74 against Kentucky. In this game, West Virginia, they never even held the lead. Texas Tech, my goodness, they were on it last night. They evened up the series 1-1. They did lose to West Virginia this year. I think West Virginia was ranked number 17 when they lost to them. Ranked number 12 right now. They beat them last night. But of course, it was a game we had to watch out for. Derek Culver, 16 points. Gabe Osabuohien, 15 points, 4 rebounds off the bench. WVU, West Virginia University, the Mountaineers, only made 4 3-pointers last night, so that's kind of unacceptable, of course, and not just, NBA, but that almost like in the modern game of basketball, 4 3-pointers, you might just be taking a loss. I think Texas Tech had 11 3-pointers made last night, so you definitely got to be able to shoot the ball or have somebody come on and be able to get a little, warmed up just a little bit. They don't have to get hot, but you need a couple players to be warmed up, knock down 2 3-pointers. He knocks down 3, he knocked down 1, he knocked down 2. Just need some shooting to go on. Last night also, number 7, Dayton playing Duquesne. Remember, yes, I was struggling with that word, but Scott Van Pelt helped me out. It's Duquesne. Dayton wins 73-69. Duquesne never held the lead, but they gave Dayton a game, the whole game. And we're looking at 12 minutes left in the second half. We're sitting there saying Duquesne's down by 19 points. All of a sudden, how much time was left? I think with 33 seconds, they're down by 2. And we're like, oh, Duquesne might win the game. They might win the game. Go down. They miss a shot. And then, of course, Obi Toppin, he goes to the line, knocks down 2 free throws, and he puts the game up 73-69 after it was 71-69. Obi Toppin last night, 22 points, 10 rebounds. Jalen Crutcher, 18 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds for him. Also last night, we have Texas playing TCU. Texas gets the win 62-61. Was such a close game last night. TCU going 9 of 14, especially only a 1-point loss. 9 of 14 for the free throw line. You got to make your free throws. You got to be more diligent. You got to be consistent. You got to practice those free throws. The Texas snaps a 2-game losing streak. TCU now on a 2-game losing streak. Next game for TCU against number 1 Baylor. Also, Marquette playing Xavier, and we saw the leading scorer in the country, Marcus Howard. He goes out last night with a head injury, but he did have 18 points. But Xavier loses this game simply off of free throws. Marquette wins the game by 2 points. Sarkar Anum last night, career high in Howard's absence after he left out the game, 28 points. Like I said, Howard still had 18. McEwen had 18 points. The last good game for McEwen was probably 22 points when he had when they played Villanova at home. That was like 2019, I believe. That was 2019. I think it was like November or December. But yeah, that's the last time he had like a good game or like, a good scoring game. But this game definitely should have been won by Xavier. 11 of 25 from the free throw line last night. You cannot do that. That's under 50% from the free throw line. That's absolutely horrendous. That is tragic. That's something you cannot do. And I'm pretty sure Xavier today, if they weren't scheduled to practice, I guarantee you that they're practicing today, and I guarantee they're at the free throw line. And they're doing that, and they're running hills. I'm trying to tell you. Also last night, number 21 Houston, they beat ECU 69-59. Alabama 76 playing number 22 LSU, but they lost 76-90. LSU defense held up. Remember we were talking about yesterday or the other day, LSU Alabama had like a 14.6 chance of winning this game, and Alabama's offense is what been leading them, but LSU's defense was what leads them, and LSU's defense obviously stepped up in this SEC battle, and they got the win. Northwestern last night against number 14 Michigan State. Michigan State completely whomps Northwestern, which makes me mad because you're like looking at Maryland, like, come on, Maryland, like these other teams are like smacking them. We need to smack them. Michigan State 79, Northwestern's 50. Number 1 Baylor played Iowa State, and the thing you hear about Baylor, they're grown men. They are grown men. They're men amongst boys. And 67-53 last night. Iowa State looked kind of bad, but everybody looks bad against Baylor so far. Number 24 Penn State, they beat Indiana 64-49. Indiana, I don't know what's going on. Rob Finnency, third game this season that he's been shut out. I think he averages like 10.7 points a game or 8 points. I think it's like 8 points a game at home. But shut out last night for the third game. Then, of course, another pedestrian game for Joey Brunk. The last 2 games against now Penn State. And, of course, before they played Maryland. Very pedestrian game for him 2 times in a row now. Penn State, 33 points off the bench, led by Curtis Jones, 12 points. Indiana, poor shooting night, and of course on the turnover end, 19 of 57 shooting and 17 turnovers. I'm more than certain that Archie Miller, they probably doing passing drills today. I'm pretty sure they're doing passing drills today. 17 turnovers, and they probably got everybody's the gym right. 19 of 57 shooting. That is, oh my goodness, 19 of 57. So if you add you add 19 plus 19, give you 38, right? Then you add that, so add that into there again. 3 times, they shot less than 3 times, like 19 is 3 times 57, 19 times 3, 57. But my God, I was like, that's some bad shooting. That's some very bad shooting. So I think that's it. That's all we had for, that's all we had for that. And I want to go into a tennis match last night a little bit. Federer, my goodness, hats off to you. Growing injury, back injury. Hats off to you, because Djokovic last night, I'm telling you, on Twitter, everybody's going for Djokovic, but you look at the tennis match at the Australian Open, everybody's going for Federer. Of course, you have a little bit of people going the other direction, but everybody's going for Federer. I'm going for Federer. I'm sitting there I was like, I can't believe 38 years old, back injury, growing injury. Can he come against the odds? Can he defy the odds? And he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. But oh my goodness, it was so exciting to see him just do it. And then Djokovic at the end, of course, he's sitting there talking like, oh, kudos to Roger Federer. And clearly he wasn't 100%. So hats off to him for even playing in this game. And it was just a good game. He just walked off and he just went into the tunnel. He just left. And I was like, man, Roger, you almost did it. You almost did it. And we would have saw the first set. Roger Federer was up 4-1. He was up 4-2-1, and I was like, dude, like he's gonna do it. And I'm talking to a dude that was right here in Maryland, and I was shocked that anybody in Maryland was even up watching this tennis match. And then we're going back and forth. And he was like, and Roger Federer hit this beautiful shot, and I couldn't believe like he just knows how to curve the ball, and his backhand is amazing. His backhand, he just keeps hitting it with every time he hits it with his backhand. He's like, the ball just floats. It's like an angel in the air. And then you're sitting there looking at it. It gives Roger Federer so much time to get back in his stance, get back to exactly where he wants to be on the court. And then, of course, it has that curve on it, which kind of throws Djokovic off a little bit. And Djokovic admitted that he was looking at Roger Federer's injury, and that's pretty much what slowed him down coming out 4-1. That's pretty much what slowed him down because he's looking at the injury. He's not really paying attention and playing his game. So Roger Federer almost stole the first set. Djokovic wins it 7-6 on the tie break. So, but I'm telling you, it was that match. I was so Federer. I was all in it, and I was like, I've never sat there and watched a whole tennis match. Have I ever watched a whole tennis? I think I've watched one, and that was Federer versus Nadal. And my goodness, that was a great tennis match. I think that went on for like 3 hours. But last night, man, Federer, it was a great effort, amazing effort. I wish he could have got the win. I wish he could have defied the odds. That would have been amazing, but just couldn't get it. Also, so some things we have upcoming today. My top 7 games for women's basketball. We have Wisconsin's not ranked, but Wisconsin versus number 20 Indiana. We got my second game, Cincinnati versus number 4 UConn. Georgia against number 15 Texas A&M. Remember, Georgia just beaten a top 25 team, or top 10 team for that matter. So we'll see if Georgia can do it again. Michigan versus number 23 Northwestern. We have number 10 Oregon State playing Colorado. Number 22 Tennessee. They're playing against Vanderbilt. And we have number 3 Oregon, Sabrina Ionescu, going against Utah. I can't wait. I'm excited to see her again. Also, we have in the men's number 18 Iowa versus number 15 Maryland. So I'm watching that game tonight because I'm not missing the Maryland game. So we got number 20 Colorado versus UCLA. We got Minnesota playing number 19 Illinois. Then we got number 11 Oregon. The men are playing Cal. And then so my upset alerts tonight would be in the men's number 2 Gonzaga playing Santa Clara. Santa Clara 7.5% chance of winning this game, but that's an upset alert. Also, we have number 25 Arkansas playing Alabama. The Alabama ladies know how to play some basketball, so watch out for Alabama tonight. Number 25 Arkansas, y'all Razorbacks need to watch out. Also, we have San Diego playing number 12 Gonzaga in the women's. That's going to be a good game as well. Then we have my top 3 NBA games. So number 3, 76ers playing the Hawks. There's going to be no Al Horford tonight, unfortunately. But Trae Young's been balling out, and I can't wait to see what Trae Young does tonight. Also, number 2, we have the Kings playing the Clippers. So the Kings played last night, just lost. And they just lost to OKC. They're at Los Angeles Clippers, first game back in the Staples Center tonight. So it'll be probably a very emotional time. I'm pretty sure the Clippers are going to definitely pay tribute to Kobe Bryant. But Kings back-to-back games, so the back-to-backs don't ever really work out that well. And then we got the Jazz at the Denver Nuggets. We know the Jazz just also played last night against the San Antonio Spurs. They're on a back-to-back as well. And of course, the one thing we're going to talk about also tomorrow when we talk about the Super Bowl matchup preview. We're going to talk about something Roger Goodell talked about in the Rooney Rule. So that's something we're going to talk about tomorrow. Might be a more NFL-based show, especially talking about the Super Bowl. But everybody, thank you for joining me on another episode of Sports Outside the Box. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.